Hi, in this video I'm going to highlight my main event basic collection. So like a lot of collectors, I started off with main events and basics. They're a lot cheaper, and if you're just trying to get everyone or as many as possible represented, can often be the way to go. Over time, as my collection grew, they started to come out with characters that were not in the main event line, so I had to move on to elites and ultimates and things like that. And I think that's probably the case for a lot of people. I still like to get a main event figure if I can. They're cheaper and they're still pretty good. They don't come with the accessories as much. But in a lot of cases, for some of the characters that are going to come out, they're going to go straight to the elite. So that's not always possible. But I don't have an issue, or I don't have a problem with main event figures or the main event line. So getting started, and we're going to start with characters from Monday Night Raw. Is Roman Reigns. So this first Roman Reigns, it was from a main event showdown with Logan Paul. You can see the red gauntlet. Really a pretty nice figure. The next Roman Reigns is a bit older, from when I first started collecting, maybe one of my first 5 figures or so, when he was representing the big dog character. Moving on, my first copies of the Usos was a main event showdown. There's Jay on the left, Jimmy on the right. So it certainly don't look like this anymore, but at the time this was a good look for them. More main event showdown. So right next to each other, Seth Rollins and LA Knight from a recent main event showdown, Series 27. Came with the Money in the Bank briefcase, which I have Seth holding. It was based on a match from Saturday night's main event in July 2025. The Rollins figure doesn't represent his look as closely as it could from that match, but the LA Knight just about perfectly, at least as much as a main event could go. Second copy of LA Knight. So this is from series, I believe it was 141, with the red trunks. At the time, tough to find LA Knight. Now not as tough. There's elites, there's top picks, there's main event showdowns. There's all kind of ways to get LA Knight at this point. But about 25 series ago, that wasn't necessarily the case. Another character from Main Event Showdown, Ethan Page. There he is with the North American Championship, which comes with that showdown. Sometimes on Monday Night Raw lately, Ethan Page will team with Rusev. So there's an older version of Rusev, I think around Series 90, but I'm not exactly sure about that. There's a Dominic Mysterio from Main Event Showdowns, comes with Liv Morgan. That's when I first got the Women's World Title. So that was a nice 2-pack. Moving on, we see the Street Profits. This was not a main event showdown, although they've been in a bunch of those. These were just 2 different main event characters from series, I think it was around 100, but I don't remember the exact number. From the women's division, we have some older looks. Becky Lynch and Bayley. From the Becky Lynch around 2018. Bayley maybe about the same. You might notice on Bayley, her ponytail has come off, and that tends to happen every now and then. Not part of Monday Night Raw currently, but there's a Kurt Angle. So this Kurt Angle, this is one, there was this time when they had these series where you could push a button on them and they would talk, and that was the case for him. It doesn't make any sound anymore because this figure is several years old. Okay, so with that, we're going to move over to the next row, which is Friday Night SmackDown. The first character that I've got here is Randy Orton. So this figure is obviously a little bit older as well. Moving on, current WWE Women's Champion Chelsea Green in her Cactus Jack inspired look. Tiffany Stratton. This is only version of Tiffany Stratton I had. She had the Ultimate, but this was kind of new for me at the time, so I wasn't too worried about getting the Ultimate. At some point, I might like to get an Elite, or if they do another Ultimate or reissue the Ultimate or something like that. But for a main event, I think this is a perfectly nice figure. Main event showdown, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. This is my only Jade Cargill. I'm sure she'll have more elites come out, maybe an Ultimate at some point. Bianca Belair, I do have an Elite. I think it was around Series 83 of Elite Edition. But this is a nice version of Bianca Belair as well. Charlotte, quite a bit older. Again, around Series 70, 80, 90. she's going to be having a main event showdown coming out in the next few months with Alexa Bliss, so that might be a good way to update this or get a fresher look. Again, around Series 90, Finn Balor in the white trunks. Drew McIntyre. So this particular one is from Main Event Showdown with, I think it was 26, with Damian Priest, and there is Damian Priest there. So if you look down, you can see he's holding the chair, which also comes with that Main Event Showdown. There's Ricky Saints, the other half of the Main Event Showdown with Ethan Page, comes with the North American title. Shinsuke Nakamura, older edition, again, series in the 90s, I believe. Johnny Gargano. This was around series 130. He had not an ultimate, but he had an elite edition come out around the same time. But I decided to go with this main event edition. And then Humberto Carrillo, I do have a figure of Angel, but it's elite, so it didn't really qualify for this particular video. So there's the two main shows. The rest I'm going to show are people that have either moved on from WWE or I think I have exactly one character currently in NXT. So there's the Hardy Boys. That Jeff was the top picks. Matt Hardy, I think 90s or maybe around 100. Bobby Lashley, I know he was just over 100. He's one I picked up at a store called Big Lots. So the Big Lots in our town is closed. But I remember getting him and someone we'll see in a minute, Adam Cole, from that store. Top picks, Braun Strowman. I don't have too many Braun Strowmans considering how many they produced, but I do have this one. Omos, I think he was around series 130 as well, around that same time as Johnny Gargano. He had some elites come out too. I didn't get any of those, but I thought this was a nice main event. Aleister Black, he was around that same series with the Street Profits from earlier. He's had other figures come out, but I'd never gotten any of them. So this is my Aleister Malachi Black. Now we get into Undisputed Era. So I'm going to have 3 of the 4 in this video. There's Adam Cole. Then right next to him is Roderick Strong. Or excuse me, right next to him is Kyle O'Reilly. And then Roderick Strong. We got Shane McMahon next. 2 copies of Undertaker. One was exactly series 100. And then the other one was a main event showdown with Bret Hart, who we'll get to in a little bit. There's Goldberg. He was sent to us by a family member, so I'm not sure what series he was. But he's from before I was collecting. And then one more row. We've got the New Day. So there's Woods, there's Kofi, and there's 2 copies of Big E. The first one came with like an ATV accessory or vehicle. And the second one I found at Walgreens. I don't see too many figures at Walgreens anymore, but at that point I did. There's Elias. He had another more recent main event come out, but I didn't get it. So this one's older in the 80s or the 90s. First time in the line, Dexter Lumis. He, of course, had the Elite come out more recently with the Wyatt 6 look. This is his original NXT look. There's Rowan, not in his most recent run, but in his original run. Commander Aziz. Andre Chase, I really like this figure. It's going to be a first time in the line, last time in the line, but I'm glad we did get it before he left WWE. There's a Lunder Blaze. You can see her kind of like overhead. After the nice articulation, she was a little bit, for me at least, she was a little bit easier to find compared to some of the women these days. Ronda Rousey, she was many series ago. There's Toni Storm before she was timeless. She was series 117. Here's my one and only current NXT. It's Thea Hale. You can see some tape around her arm. Her arm broke, but it was fixable, so we're still able to use her. There's Nikki Cross several years ago. And then lastly is Sonya Deville. Okay, so that is my main event collection. Let me know what some of your favorite main event superstars are in your collection, or if you collect main event at all. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.